What's going on, everyone? Phil here, and welcome to a video that normally I wouldn't make. Usually every single month when I update my Patreon page at patreon.com/darksidephil, I usually update the goal, and I kind of just maybe talk about it in a week in preview video, or I'll mention it on my pre-streams for a while. And just based off of that exposure, that's how people realize, oh, this is the monthly goal for this month if we hit the funding level, and it just goes down like that. All right, this month I'm doing it a little different. I'm making an individual video about the patron goal, and here's why. All right, in the past I have done things such as multiplayer with viewers, fan appreciation is what I used to usually call it, and I still do it from time to time. It's not often, but when I do it, I make an honest effort to maybe put a day or two into it where I can get multiple sessions of gameplay with my viewers and fans, and we can jump into the latest releases and play multiplayer. And the bottom line is, I really feel the last few times that I did it, it didn't turn out well, mostly because of a few reasons. Number one, because unfortunately you've got this really negative element of people out there who they just only get attention by trying to ruin stuff that I'm involved in. And that's unfortunate that there's people who literally the entirety of their existence and their being known on the internet is trying to basically stink up my stuff. And the last few times that I tried to do fan appreciation, you had people joining who were just fucking with the matches. They would get on the voice chat and they would say insane, insulting things. And people just generally, in regards to the fan appreciation that I did at the end of 2015, kind of said, it wasn't very good. Oh, not your fault, but it wasn't good because it wasn't a controllable situation. You had people coming in only to be dicks about it. And it really didn't turn out very well. We really wish that it had gone differently, but Phil has no control over it, so you just got to kind of shrug and say, oh well, all right? Now this year, in 2016, there, up to about a few weeks ago, haven't really been many games with multiplayer aspects in them that I would even want to do multiplayer with anyone, quite honestly. The only game out of all the ones that really came out until maybe this past couple of weeks was Street Fighter V. And let's be honest, lobbies didn't even properly work in Street Fighter V for like 2 months after launch, so it wasn't even like there was a capability of doing anything with viewers up to that point, okay? So I've been thinking in the back of my head all the time, number one, I'm looking for a new patron goal, because the thing is, it's very difficult every month on Patreon to come up with a new goal level if I hit my funding goal. For those who don't know, my funding goal is $1,250, all right? And that is, the combined mass of all the contributions that I get over the course of a month. If I hit that amount, I do a special event. And events in the past have been indie game marathons, where people who pledge a certain amount get to nominate and vote on indie games that I'll play in a marathon setting. Different other kinds of marathons. I've done rock band marathons. I've done classic platforming marathons, such as Crash Bandicoot and stuff like that. We had a Halloween special last year, which I haven't done a Halloween special in years. I finally got to do one in 2015. That was a lot of fun. I got a Halloween costume and dressed up for it and everything. So quite honestly, the patron goals have been quite successful. All right. Are they the biggest, most attended, viewed things ever? No. But for those who are really looking to have those goals happen, they've been very much appreciative of them, happening and going down and seeing this stuff happen and say, wow, my pledge directly influenced this event happening. That was my air conditioner going on, by the way, if you're wondering what that ambient noise is. So I wanted to make a special video to explain to everyone right now this month's new goal for the month of May 2016, how it's going to work, for clarification purposes, because I wouldn't want to just say, oh, here it is, and then I don't fully explain it and people are all confused and on the fence, especially because in the past, when I've done fan appreciation, it had nothing to do with Patreon. This is different, and I'm going to explain how and how I can control the event through Patreon in this video. All right, so the event is this, basically. If we hit the funding goal of $1,250 for this month, the month of May 2016, what I'm going to do is in late June or early July, it's either going to be like the last few days of June 2016 or early July 2016. Actually, it'll probably depend on feedback of people involved when most people would be available to participate in a multiplayer event, okay? Patrons who pledge $5 or more during May. So during this month, right now it's actually May 15th, the month ends on May 31st, so 16 days. If you pledge $5 or more to my Patreon by the end of this month, you will have the opportunity to play multiplayer with me in a marathon of multiplayer games that will take place during this event, okay? Now, the length of the event actually will be determined by how many people pledge. Because here's the thing, I wouldn't want 50 people to pledge $5, and the next thing you know, they don't all get to play with me. That wouldn't be fair. You know what I mean? Now, there's things that I can't control. For example, if someone lives on the other side of the planet and they try to get into my private match and it doesn't work, okay? That's one thing I cannot control. So in that regard, unfortunately, people do pledge and it doesn't work out. I apologize. But whatever is in my control to make this work, I want to make it work, okay? Now, first thing you might say is, okay, well, how's this going to work? First of all, what games are involved, okay? Well, number one, Street Fighter V. Okay, Street Fighter V is a no-brainer. It's the current fighting game that everyone's talking about and everyone's playing. They now have private lobbies that I can make, and I can set up either to play against an individual a few matches, or we can have a rotating lobby with a few people in it. Street Fighter V, first and foremost, absolutely is going to be on the list. Obviously on PlayStation 4. It doesn't matter, though, because that's cross-platform between PC and PS4, so it doesn't matter what version you have, okay? The next game on the list will be... Sorry, I had them written down and I left it over at my desk like an idiot. Uncharted 4 on the PlayStation 4. Now, that game, I believe you could have up to, I think it's 8 or 10 players tops. So that would be cool. That way I can have many people into the lobby, okay? And yes, that will obviously be on PlayStation 4. It's a PlayStation 4 exclusive. You know, varied modes or whatever. We'll see what happens once we start playing if people have recommended modes that they'd like to play over others, okay? The next game would be Doom. Doom multiplayer, and that will be on the PlayStation 4. That's the version of the game that I have. And again, that's something I could set up a private lobby. I could probably do like 5-on-5, or I forget again if the limit's 5-on-5 or 6-on-6 of that game. I think it's 5-on-5. And again, so again, potential to have up to 9 other people in the lobby with me while I play sessions of that game, okay? And then the last game, at least for now, all right, if something changes, if a game that has a major multiplayer component releases between now and when this event happens, I may add it. But for now, the final game that I really want to kind of add to it as a confirmed game is Overwatch. And I know a lot of people were like, well, Phil, are you even getting Overwatch? I said, you know what? Since this event is going to happen, okay, since this is a major chance for people who've always wanted to play with me and haven't had a chance to do multiplayer with me to do it, then yes, I will buy Overwatch on the PlayStation 4, if not to play 1 or 2 sessions on launch week, specifically just for this event. Okay, so it's going to be those 4 games: Street Fighter V, Uncharted 4, Doom, and Overwatch. Unless, like I said, another game with a major multiplayer component comes out between now and then. I'm looking at my calendar. I don't see one. That doesn't mean that it might not happen. All right? So how does it work? Here's how it works. Pledge, go to patreon.com/DarksidePhil. If you want to be in on this event that's coming up in late June, early July, you want to do multiplayer with me, $5. It's a $5 pledge for this month. If we hit the goal of $1,250 for overall funding of between everyone who pledges this month, okay, then this event will happen. And what I'll do is I'll put up a thread, a forum thread on the KingofHate.com forums. Everyone who pledges $5 gets premium forum access. We'll get everyone set up in early June with that. And then you'll start posting up and say, hi, I was a $5 pledge for the month of May, and I would like to play this game with Phil. Now, for all intents and purposes, since unfortunately we know what's going to happen, you're going to have people who are like, well, I want to play all 4 games. Well, yeah, but what about if there's 30, 40 people who pledge, right? And we got to get them all into a 1 to 2 day event. That's not fair to demand that you play all the games. So I'll say, pick the top 2 games out of the 4 that if you own them, you'd like to play them with me. Okay? And post it up in this thread on the KingofHate.com forums. Once you do that, by the end of June, what I'll be able to do is go through there and say, okay, here's all the people who posted up, and here's what they want to play, and I'll be able to prioritize and basically make a spreadsheet based off of the postings, okay? And I'll get everyone's PSN names and everything involved so that I can invite people to my private matches at this event. Now, like I said, the amount of days and the length of the event will be directly dependent on how many people pledge. If only 15, 20 people pledge, more than likely that's only going to be 1 day, because you figure I play every game for about an hour and a half to 2 hours tops. And that's enough to get everyone into the games, for those sessions. If we get an overwhelming amount of people who are interested in doing this event, like let's say we get 30, 40, 50 people, then I'll say, okay, you know what? It's the summer anyway. I'll take 2 days back to back, and we'll split the days. First half of day 1 will be Street Fighter V. Second half of day 1 will be Overwatch, and the same, next day, first half will be Uncharted, and second half will be Doom, however we need to do it, okay? It's directly dependent on how many people pledge and are involved in the event. Now, you might say to yourself, but Phil, you've always done fan appreciation completely for free. Why are you doing it this way? Well, it's quite honest. Being quite honest with everyone. I don't think that doing fan appreciation for free really works anymore. Unfortunately, these online services have become too troll friendly. It's far too easy for these people to just auto get themselves into my games. If you haven't noticed, a lot of times I'll make a private, or not really make a private game, I'll just make a game, a lobby, and immediately 100 fucking people join, and they're trolling and doing, because whatever reason, the consoles with the social aspect and matchmaking and all that took a step back this console generation. When I was on Xbox 360, I could easily create a private party, I could easily create a private lobby in any game, and I could just specifically invite the people that I wanted through people who were sending me, messages over Xbox Live, and I could set it up like this. And that's why fan appreciation multiplayer was so easy last console generation. This generation, it's a nightmare. I'm going to have to manually invite every single person. I'm going to have to try to kick trolls. It's a nightmare. I don't know why the fuck it's done like this anymore. Why? It's a major step back, in my opinion. Okay? So, doing it this way, with basically a patron screening, will weed out all of the assholes. When you go to play with me during this event, you'll know, wow, I'm going to get quality gameplay with Phil. There won't be some dick who's on our team running around shooting at the sky and dancing in front of Phil and trying to be a nuisance, because no one's going to pay money just to do that. You know what I mean? And if they do, the joke's on them, because they're still going to get booted from the fucking game, and then they lose their money. So that's the bottom line, is people who want to legitimately play multiplayer with me in the latest game releases, this is your opportunity to do it troll-free through this screening process. And I wish it didn't come to this. I mean, how many years have I done multiplayer where I could just do it and I didn't have this issue? But if anything, that last session where I was really trying to play different games and you saw that shit happen, I have to do it this way, okay? Now, we'll talk more specifics about games and stuff as we get close. Some people might say, well, Phil, in Street Fighter V, how many games am I going to get against you in that? We're going to get to the specifics of that as we get closer to the event and once we see how many people have qualified for it. So, again, if we hit the goal level for May, people will start to be upgraded. Once we get everyone upgraded and talking about this event on the KingofHate.com forums and we have an idea of how many people are involved, then we can say, okay, well, look, there was only maybe 10 people involved for Street Fighter V. Hell, I'll play a big set, best of 5 or something with everyone. Or maybe we'll do several sets. Maybe I'll set up a lobby where we all rotate and play each other. I don't know. It all depends on how it goes. Keep in mind, this is the very first time I'm ever doing an event like this. And I just want to say this. There are people who do this on Patreon all the time. A lot of people will go, oh, now Phil's charging for something that's always been free. Not the case, because I've never had a controlled environment fan appreciation. It's always been, well, everyone just gets willy-nilly, might get in, might not get in. And this way, if you pledge and when the event happens, you will get in, guaranteed, because I'm taking all the time needed for everyone to get a match in. That's way different than it's been previous times. And we're going to have the troll element eliminated. It's basically a streamlined, better multiplayer experience with me. Okay? That's why we're doing it this way. It's not the same as the previous one. So, anyone right now, I'm already preemptively countering your bullshit. So, but Phil's charging for multiplayer. Wrong. I'm doing a special event for people who've wanted to play multiplayer with me in games, haven't had the opportunity because of trolling or because so many people try to play, they don't ever get in. This is going to be a controlled environment where you're guaranteed to get in and play with me and have a good time. That's what this event is, not those previous chaotic multiplayer sessions that I tried to do. It's a different experience. It's going to be much better than the previous ones, and that's why it needs to be controlled through a patron screen to get to this event. Okay? Lots of people already do events like this with Patreon. I'm certainly not the first one. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I got the idea from someone else who this is how they do it, okay? And they're very successful. So again, oh, Phil's doing it. I can't believe he would do that. Other people do it, and everyone's fine with that. So, fuck you again if you're going to be dick to me and say, oh, well, that's bullshit. No, the bullshit's on you, because I've been trying to do it for free, and it hasn't worked. The past few times I've tried to do stuff interactive with the viewers, it hasn't worked because these idiots just try to get into everything. Now they won't be able to. That'll be the end of that nonsense. Okay? So that's that. That's the event. The event is Street Fighter V, Overwatch, Uncharted 4, and Doom. Obviously, yes, all on the PlayStation 4. Multiplayer with me. Guaranteed, if we hit the goal level for the month of May, $1,250, and you pledge $5 or more, you can play these games with me during a 1 to 2 day long multiplayer event. However long I need to take to do it, I will take to do it. That will take place in late June or early July, and I'm really excited about it because I think it's going to be the best multiplayer event I've ever done. because I finally get to control the environment. I'm finally kind of taking a step up and saying I have to understand I need to have a screening procedure, all right? Now, I know there's people out there who are going to be disappointed because you don't have a lot of money and you can't pledge to my Patreon. Don't worry. This is not the absolute end-all and be-all of multiplayer. In the future, I may do more open multiplayer. Unfortunately, you see what happens when I do it, okay? When I do it, there's no guarantee you're ever going to get in. But this is a special thing because I'm trying something different on Patreon. Now, if this doesn't work, what if we don't hit the funding level this month? Well, then I know there's not enough interest in a multiplayer event like this for it to happen. So I'll know in the future, don't do something like this again. But it could be the flip side. It could end up being overwhelmingly popular. And people, wow, I finally get to play with Phil after years of me trying to never getting in. I want to do that. And maybe people will have the first opportunity to have a good experience playing games with me. And, you know, we'll go from there. Maybe this will expand to do other stuff as well, okay? And by the way, yes, I will be setting up to have voice chat activated during this event. So if you're all playing multiplayer with me during this event, you can actually talk to me over, you know, PlayStation Network chat or whatever. I'll have my microphone working. I know that was been an issue. A lot of people, when I go to do the multiplayer, they say, well, Phil has his mic off because he doesn't want to avoid trolling. Well, these are people who've been screened through Patreon. Of course, they're there to play and to have fun and interact and not to be dicks. Okay? So, that's the idea. Let's see what people have to say. Let's see what people think. Okay? Let's see if it works. If we hit the goal this month, great. Thumbs up. And I'll go forward with the event. Hey, if we don't hit the goal, then hit the drawing board, and I'll try something different next month. Maybe I'll go back to an older thing. You know, a lot of people are saying, why does Phil do another Patron's Choice? Because I still haven't I haven't even gotten through Persona 3. Persona 3 is going to probably end up being a game that's going to go throughout the entire summer because it's such a freaking long game. But people are saying it's like twice as long as Persona 4. I don't know why people wanted me to play it then, because how long do you think it's going to take me to beat it? But yeah, with all the new releases, I haven't even had a chance to play Persona 3 a lot recently. So I can't stack goals now. Oh, we're going to do Persona 3 and another Patron's Choice and another Patron's Choice. You know what I mean? So I'm doing something different outside the box from what I would normally do, but something that other YouTubers are doing on Patreon and are very successful with. So I'm hoping that this will work out for me as well. Let's see. I'm curious to hear your feedback. I'm curious to hear how many people are excited and looking, gee, for $5, I can actually play a dedicated session with Phil, and it's not going to have trolling, and it's going to be a controlled environment where we're going to actually have fun and be able to chat. That sounds good, you know? So let's see. I'm curious. All right, everyone. That is the explanation for the May 2016 Patreon goal. Let's see what happens. I'm going to update my Patreon page right now, so probably by the time you see this video, it'll already be updated, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching. See you later, and hopefully a lot of you will check out on patreon.com/darksidephil and pledge to see if we can get this event going. All right. Thanks, everyone. Peace out.